What they did not want was a typical capital like most of the states have, with a big Roman dome and all that sort of thing. They wanted something entirely different. In the long run, all of the community in Hawaii has been very happy with it.
At the time that the capital was being considered, I was asked to be the representative of the Senate side, at least, to be on that committee to talk to them about the needs of the legislature so that when that building was designed and built, it would fit the requirements of the legislature.
One of his missions in life was to get statehood, which was accomplished in 1959. And the changeover from Iolani Palace to the state capitol was another step in that process to show the change from the territory to the state. So I think it symbolizes the new state of Hawaii.
I think that the architects, when they designed it, and they told us that they wanted to have it resemble Hawaii, not like any other building in any other part of the United States, but something that was Hawaiian.
28 were interviewed. People like Edward D. Stone, a very famous local architect from the mainland, and I.M. Pei, he designed the East-West Center. Those were all re-interviewed, but they finally selected John Carl Warnecke of San Francisco. And he'd received several national and international design awards for consulates, American consulates and buildings he'd built all over the world. And selected with him was the firm that I was involved with, called Architects Away, but in those days it was called Belt, Lamont and Lowe, because it included not only the architects, but all of the engineers.
The architects did not do it by themselves. There was a committee of people from the community at large, from different sections of the community, that sat down with the architects. And while they were discussing the makeup of this beautiful building, they would ask the people from the community how they could be involved in bringing culture into the building. So that's the reason why this building is so symbolic, and it represents the people in the state of Hawaii.
He wanted something to show that we were truly an important state in the United States. You know, he wanted Hawaii to be a major player and participant in the affairs of the United States, and being the only state out here in the Pacific, especially, and being unique because we have an indigenous population here. And so I think he wanted it to really reflect Hawaii and to show people that, hey, these people, they can put up a pretty good state capital over here. Maybe they know what they're doing.
I think that we're all concerned about what it's going to cost. You know, the architects can plan one thing and they're very grandiose ideas, but I think that we, from a legislative government standpoint, we want to be sure that they didn't run off and spend any kind of money that they wanted to spend.
I was responsible for the observation of construction. See, the architect is responsible to the client, this would be the state, to be sure that what is constructed is in accordance with the drawings and specs, that the contractor doesn't cheat in any way. And by the way, they often try to, believe it or not. And so that was one of my tasks.
And I used to see it, you know, I lived at Washington Place for a while, and I used to see it walking around, and you think, my gosh, what's this thing going to look like? I mean, even though you know what the final result's supposed to be, you say, you really think they can get this done?
Yeah, this building represents all of Hawaii. First of all, the building, when you look at it from a distance, represents a volcano. Why the volcano? Origin of the islands. From the depths of the Pacific Ocean, uprose the islands by means of volcanoes where we are today. It's surrounded by water, well, nearly surrounded by water, which represents the ocean. Thereby, the Capitol building represents an island. As you walk into the building, there are 8 pillars to greet you, 8 islands. Yeah, there's so much significance here. Take the outside of the chambers. It's built like in a cone shape. Most active part of the volcano is the cinder cone. The brick out there is made from cinder, and it is in a cone shape. So when you see it from a distance, it looks like a cinder cone, or it's supposed to represent the cinder cone. And once you come into the gallery and you look down into the chambers, like looking down into the crater.
My first feeling about the Capitol was when I walked into the Senate chambers, and I thought, wow, spacious compared to the limited amount of space we had at the Elena Palace. And you look down and you can see the splendor and grandeur of the place.
The tapestry here is made up of earth tones. Red like the fire from the lava, red hot as it's coming down the volcano. And then the dark is the lava fields that have hardened. There's an outline that looks like a pineapple. When you go into the Senate chambers, it's blue and greens. Blue and greens of the ocean and the sky. So you see how the blend of relevance to our state again. Then that chandelier is made up of copper and brass with a tint of gold to represent the beautiful sun. In the Senate chambers, it's made up of 620 chambered nautilus shells. They were polished to become a kind of silver white that represents the moon. So we got the sun on one side and the moon on the other. And when you light it up, it's like full moon.
The governor was the one who selected, who had indicated he wanted the Dachisaros to do that flooring there, that artwork, yes.
He called Aquarius. What he meant by Aquarius was that when you look down from the sky on the water, you see different colors depending on what the bottom is like. It's made of about 1 million small glass tiles about that square.
The floor of the governor and the lieutenant governor, they raised it from 10 feet to 15 feet. It caused quite a ruckus, but I think looking back, he did the right thing.
One day we had a visitor, and I think it was Governor Burns who showed the visitor the plans of the building. And when she, gender, seen it, she was very pleased with what she saw, except the executive chambers. And she said this, she suggested this. Being that this was your most important room in the building, it needed a little bit more statue. Mm-hmm. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the floor to ceiling are 8-foot ceilings, meaning floor to ceiling height, 8 foot. But when it comes to the executive chambers, as you walk into the governor's office, it goes up another nearly 4 feet. And that showed importance, statue. The significance behind that story was, who was that woman?
Does anyone know?
Jacqueline. Who's Jacqueline?
Oh, Kennedy.
Yeah.
I think he could finally exhale and say, you know, I've seen it through all the way to the end, and here it is. Now we can really get cooking on being a great state. You know, we've got our facilities and we've got everything in place, so let's go get it done and keep marching on. So I think it was a very proud moment for him.
The most important thing is to maintain the building, and that's one problem we have in Hawaii. Often the state doesn't appropriate money enough to maintain the buildings that are of great significance. And somehow the money to do the maintenance falls through the cracks. I don't see any evidence of that here at all.
The significance of government power is the dome. Alongside of that is the significance of religious power, which is also a dome. Yeah. But you know, when it comes to the dome, I believe, although there may be significance in as much as the shape of a dome, it's powerful to be in the rotunda and to look up at the top of the dome and see the significance of wherever that dome is. Well, the significance of our dome is ours is the most beautiful dome in all. What makes it so beautiful? The sky. The sky, our dome is never the same, you know? When you go in the rotunda of any building that has a dome, that ceiling is always the same. When you look up at our dome and it opens up to the sky is never in your lifetime the same. The elements are always moving.
I always look out, I see the Capitol, and then I see parts of my office that I could see up there. I think I'm grateful that those who followed took this plan, accepted the idea that there should be a capital district and not build up and cover every open space. I think that's what's unusual about our Capitol building. The palace there, and the Capitol building, and the openness.